Security analysts say that the incursion is a big risk. They point to recent history. America's infamous Black Hawk Down mission in the 90s. Ethiopia's US-backed invasion, which led to the rise of al-Shabaab. And the African Union's long and bloody campaign to control Mogadishu.
If there is anything we have learned, in the last couple of decades, is that foreign intervention, especially military intervention, doesn't work in Somalia.
Kenya's military officials say they want to push on to Kismayo, a key stronghold of al-Shabaab. But the country's largely conventional army is being hampered by heavy rains and Shabaab's ability to melt into the background. Kenya's key Western allies, the US and the UK, were quick to state that they will not give any assistance to this operation, but France says they will give some help. The decision to attack was the Kenyan government's alone, it seems, but many worry it will make this country less safe, not more.
If the argument for going in is to stop terrorism, the contrary is now the case. Al-Shabaab will now have the pretext to strike Kenya.
A series of grenade attacks this week blamed on al-Shabaab has the country on edge. But the Kenyan government says it has stepped up security and that they have just one aim in Somalia.
We don't want to go and get stuck in Somalia. When the United States, Ethiopia and others went there, they were trying to support an existing government. Our main objective is just to go in, dismantle the al-Shabaab and get out. So we have a very clear objective.
To take out al-Shabaab?
To take out al-Shabaab.
The government says that the operation should be over in a matter of months. But some fear that Kenya has stepped into a military quagmire that has haunted this continent for decades.
It's bad and about to get a lot worse. Bangkok's governor says floodwaters will keep rising in the capital over the next few days. The whole city, he says, could soon be submerged. The flooding has already killed over 370 people. CNN's Sarah Sidna is in the Thai capital.
Palace, making people quite nervous. What we also saw when we went up with the U.S. military, the Marines and Navy took us up in a helicopter. We saw roads being slowly swallowed by water. We saw from an aerial view the domestic airport, the Don Mueang airport, which has now been closed for a couple of days. That is now seeing more water pushing farther onto the runway. We also passed over areas. Most of the areas that you'd be seeing from the aerial shots in the north of the city are normally dry. And what we saw was just miles and miles, kilometers and kilometers of water. It looked like a lake. As we passed over some of that area, there are factories that we saw, including the Bangkadi Industrial Park, which is a huge production center for Toshiba Corporation. We saw water everywhere. Some of the electronics makers, the car factories, and some showrooms are being surrounded by water or really inundated with water. And we're talking about thousands of factories that are being affected by this, not to mention all of the residents who are having to deal with this. Residents are taking out boats. They're trying to get all their belongings out of the way. And now the Bangkok governor has said, look, we can no longer control these floodwaters. And we're now seeing the result of it right near the Grand Palace, with floodwaters seeping in ever so slowly, but definitely getting higher and higher. Jane?
What's the verdict, Sarah, on how the government's been handling this crisis?
Well, it depends on who you ask. Some people saying they acted too slowly, but a lot of people saying, look, this government just got into office. It's unfortunate for them. It's a difficult time for the Thai people. And, evacuations have been ordered, and there has been an effort made to try to get people to higher ground. And a lot of this is difficult to predict, as you know, with flooding and flood waters. But today, the Prime Minister has said, look, the flooding's coming. It's coming now. It will be in several different parts of the city. We're talking about anywhere from 10 centimeters, which is about 4 inches, Zane, to more than a meter. We're talking about 3 feet in some places. Obviously, people are going to be scared. A lot of people have left. More than 1 million people have evacuated the city. Lots of hotels in places that are high and dry have been booked, and people are just, those who are staying behind, waiting and watching, but can be quite a dangerous situation because it's not rushing in. It is creeping in, but it can be quite difficult to ascertain exactly how high the water is going to get.
Now take a second break. We'll be right back. Qatari side Al Sadd are into the finals of the Asian Champions Following a narrow one-lead loss to South Korean side Suwon. The win could not take the South Korean side through after losing the first leg to Al Sadd 2-0. And in England, Manchester City keep alive their goal start to the season with a 5-1 demolition of Lowly Wolves. We have details of those stories in this report.
By taking an early lead. Great goal it was as well. Oh Jung-Yoon with a fantastic volley, definitely worth another look. The home side tried to re-establish their 2-goal lead in the tie, and they came close to doing so. Kalfan Ibrahim with the effort, but it saved onto the crossbar by Jung Song-yong. As time passed, the Blue Wings knew they needed to force the issue, and Park Hyun-bin had a shot on target from close range. It was straight at the goalkeeper, though. The match finished 1-0 Suwon. Not good enough for the Koreans. Al Sadd winning 2-1 on aggregate. They'll now face another South Korean side, John Book Motors, who knocked out Al Ittihad of Saudi Arabia 5-3 on aggregate after winning the first leg 3-2 away. The Korean side took the lead thanks to Eninyu, who finished off a quick counterattack. The Brazilian winger's second goal was a lot more impressive. He found the back of the net directly from a corner kick that put John Book in command. Another Brazilian, Wendell, pulled a goal back for Al Ittihad with about 20 minutes to go, but it was too little too late for them as they played most of the match a man short after an early sending off. Al Sadd against John Book in the final. Just 3 days after thrashing United, the citizens put in another impressive display. Roberto Mancini made several changes for this fourth round match at Wolves, and initially it seemed that had been a mistake, as it was Mick McCarthy's side who took the lead through Nenan Milias. But just a few minutes later, the visitors were back on level terms. The cross from the right found Edin Dzeko, who set up Adam Johnson. That would start a goal-scoring spree, which would see City find the back of the net 3 times in as many minutes. Samir Nasri making it 2-1, and shortly after that, Dzeko celebrated a goal of his own. That made it 3-1 at half-time. More from the Premier League leaders in the second half. A barrage of shots comes in from Nasri and then Lucas Capuzzi. Eventually the ball bounces off the goalkeeper and goes in. Mancini's side had one more goal in the bag. It belonged to Dzeko, his second of the game after a great move. Wolves managed to pull a goal back through Jamie O'Hara, but definitely not even close to being enough to help them mount a comeback. City through to the quarterfinals comfortably.
From Sports Day, we take a look at the day's weather report.
Rents its back for medications and its sap for glue. In the Gambia, there is a company like the Baobab tree, 100% African and purely Gambian in all aspects. In know-how, design, value, capital, and management. That company is Elton. Elton, employing hundreds of Gambians and proudly associating itself with development in the Gambia. Elton, side by side with the Gambia.
Hello viewers, welcome to the weather segment. First, we begin with a summary followed by the forecast. The day today was mainly characterized by sunny and warm conditions. To know what prevailed over the entire continent, we take a look at the image captured at 1700 hours, indicating the presence of convective clouds over Gulf of Guinea states, Central, East and South Africa. Elsewhere remained dry and stable during the period. For the forecast tonight, we'll be expecting dry conditions to prevail over the entire country, with clear skies becoming relatively cool towards dawn. The day tomorrow will be mainly sunny and warm, with hazy conditions over places. Winds will be mainly northerlies in orientation, but generally light to moderate in speed. For the minimum temperatures, we'll be expecting 21 degrees Celsius over Banjul, Sibanor and Jinoy, Yundum, Karawan,